Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be taking a look at AMD AM5 processors and some of the best settings you can apply in your BIOS to get the best out of them, to also reduce temperatures, increase your Cinebench scores, and basically increase the longevity of your platform, at least hopefully. So in today's video we're going to go through, have a look at settings you can change in the BIOS to make your processor just basically run better. I've actually done some testing as well with various different combinations of Precision Boost Overdrive being on, off, auto, also with the curve optimizer, and also with reducing the SOC voltage. So stick around if you want to see how to apply these settings to your system, and then after we've done that on the computer, we'll go and take a look at some of the results from my system so you can potentially compare and see if this is going to be something that is worth doing on your own machines. So with all that said, let's head to the computer and we'll take a closer look. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is to go into your system's BIOS, and ideally, if you can, just make sure you're on the newest BIOS for your particular motherboard. If you're not too sure which BIOS you need or how to get it, we have got a fantastic BIOS tool which will be linked in the video description, so you can check out for yourself and it will help you through the process and point you in the right direction for downloading files, etc. Alternatively, if you search for your own specific motherboard, there's a chance we've done a BIOS update video on it somewhere on the channel, so feel free to use those as well. But for us at the moment, we're going to assume that you're on the latest version of the BIOS and your system is already stable, or at least somewhat, but potentially it's a little bit on the warm side. So for our particular system, we're going to go into the overclocking setting, and also as well, it's probably worth checking things like Expo. Make sure that Expo is enabled if you haven't already, because that will give you a boost in speed anyway, give you some better scores. Then we're going to head over into the overclocking settings. Now again, your motherboards may differ slightly, so you may need to search around. Most motherboards these days have got like a search thing at the top, so you can just type in the settings, but otherwise just follow along. So what we're going to do first of all, we're going to go into the advanced CPU configuration. So these are the settings that I generally tend to use myself. We'll go into AMD overclocking, and we'll go into the Precision Boost Overdrive settings. So press enter, and at the moment it's just set to enabled. Now yours will probably be set to auto, but if you click on it, there's all these different options. Now the ones we're going to be looking at today is auto, disabled, enabled, and also advanced. Now there are other settings in between, but those are a little bit outside of the scope of this video. So you'll probably find that yours is going to be set to auto. I've tested with disabled, enabled, and also advanced. So advanced is the one I generally tend to use. And when you turn that on, generally, you should have the option for curve optimizer. This is where we can apply some of the magic. So go into curve optimizer. Currently it's set to disabled. So it is set to all cores. And you want to set the curve optimizer to being a negative value. And then they've got the magnitude. So in the magnitude section, for most people, putting a value of 20 is going to be pretty much the safe spot for you. You can try 25 or 30, and you may be able to try individual ones lower or higher. So put in maybe, I don't know, 22, that kind of thing, depending on what your board supports and what is actually stable for you. Because once you've done this, you probably want to check in your system and make sure that it is actually stable. So leave the system running for a few hours, play some games, etc. Make sure that everything is okay. But for the majority of people with AMD AM5 based processors, a magnitude of 20 is going to be absolutely fine. So get rid of that and put in 20, and we'll apply that. So essentially what we've done is we've told the system to use a magnitude of 20 to actually use less power to achieve the appropriate frequencies when your system is boosting or just working in general. So this is reducing the load on the processor and also reducing the heat. So that is pretty much all we need to do there. That'll be fine for most people. So we can come out of there. And the next thing we want to do is take a look at the actual SOC voltage. So the SOC voltage is essentially the kind of uncore parts of the processor. So things like the North Bridge, your memory controller, that kind of thing. Now on a lot of AMD systems, especially in the earlier days, most motherboard manufacturers would try to artificially increase or jack up the SOC voltage to gain things such as stability or better overclocking support. Most of the time, this is set optimistically high, And really, you should set it to a lower value. So for most AMD processors, setting it to a value of 1.2 volts is absolutely great. That's kind of where you want to be. You can do it to 1.25. Generally, they'll be in the kind of 1.3 to 1.35 range, sometimes as high as 1.4, which is a little bit on the dangerous side. A lot of BIOSes have reduced this recently, so I would suggest reducing it also. So in order to find this setting in your system, look for something which looks like Northbridge or SOC Voltage. Now, as you can see at the moment, ours is currently set to auto, which isn't great. And you can see the voltage is fluctuating there. So what it will do, when it's under a lot of load or it's trying to boost, it potentially might increase those levels a little bit. Or if you're running extremely high frequency RAM, again, it may jack up those as well to try and keep stability. But that is something we don't want. So we're going to change it from auto, and we're going to go into AMD overclocking. Now yours may just say manual. Again, it depends on the motherboard manufacturer and the BIOS, etc. Then where it says SOC voltage, at the moment it says auto. And if you press enter, it doesn't do anything. So we actually have to physically type it in. So we'll do 1.2 and press enter, and it'll add in the extras on the end. So you can tweak it by kind of millivolts at the end there, or percentages. So you could do 1.275 or 1.250 or 1.225, those kinds of things. But again, like I've said, for the majority of people, 1.2 is going to be absolutely fine. And that is effectively it. You don't really need to change anything else. There are other tweaks you can do in the BIOS anyway for things like your RAM, like the memory context restore, etc. if you wanted to, memory voltages, whatever. But if you just want to reduce some of the heat in your CPU and perhaps get a few more points in Cinebench, or just have a slightly better gaming experience, turning on the Precision Boost Overdrive, going into the curve optimizer, setting it to a negative value and setting that value up to -20 or thereabouts. Potentially, again, you may find that you may have to go to 15 or 10, or maybe you can get away with going 25 or 30. The higher the number, the better, because that is reducing the voltages, or the actual frequencies can be higher using less voltage, so less heat, etc, etc. So hopefully that makes sense. That is essentially the settings you want to do. The SOC voltage is going to be one of those things where it may not drastically reduce your temperatures under high loads, but it will reduce the overall package temperature, which is something which, again, if you've got a system which is running a little bit hot and you find your fans ramping up all the time, you might want to change that. So setting it to that should actually help you. So once you're done, click on the X at the top there, and it will say, do you want to save this configuration or something along those lines? And it will give you an outline of what we've actually changed. So we've changed it from 1.306, which was the auto setting for the SOC voltage, and we've dropped that down to 1.2 as a static voltage. We've also done the Precision Boost Overdrive. We've set that to advanced. We've also enabled the curve optimizer for all cores, and we've set it to a negative value, and we've set the value to a magnitude of 20. So again, this should be absolutely fine. So we'll click on yes, and the system will now reboot and apply those settings. Right, so we're back onto our Windows desktop. Now, for those of you that are kind of playing along at home, if you want to do the testing whilst you're kind of seeing what settings are best for you, I use a combination. This is just a quick and easy way of doing it. So Cinebench R23, it's a free download from the Microsoft Store. You can get it and install it, and that will put a quite a load onto the CPU, either single core or multi-core. And also you can use something along the lines of HWMonitor. Again, I use that because it's quite an easy download, but you can use hardware info, those types of things, should you wish to. What you want to be looking at is your processor, and what I tend to look at, you may look at something different, but what I generally tend to look at is the package temperatures, which we've got here. That is a kind of a telltale sign. You can look at core temperatures as well, but you generally find that the core temperatures are going to be lower. Most motherboards and most software for controlling fans looks at package temperature, because that is kind of like an overall temperature value. So obviously you may have a really cold core, your cooling is not going to work great with that. So ideally you want to go with the package temperatures if you can. If you want to do testing of your own, just make sure that you've got a system which is running the same every time. So disable things like OneDrive, what have you, if you want to. Turn off Windows updates, maybe even unplug the Ethernet if you want to get exact values. and maybe just run a quick loop of Cinebench. So if we do this now, just so you can see how it changes. So over here, if we look at the package temperatures, so you can see our package temperature now is rising, and we've still got our minimum values there. Again, at the moment, I haven't disabled other programs, which I did have disabled when I was running it previously. Our CPU fans have ramped up as appropriate, and we'll see what the score is. I'm going to guess this is going to get somewhere around the 17,000 points mark, because I've got some software running in the back, which is a little bit of a CPU hog. Again, those things can make a difference, but this should be done very quickly, so we'll just wait for this to finish. And there we go, pretty much bang on what I said it would be. So yeah, 17,002 points with our CPU. Now again, if we turned off some of the other settings or some of the other programs, we may get a better score. Again, depending on how you want to do your testing, you do whatever works best for you. Also as well, I've got my Synology NAS doing backups in the background, so that is a little bit of overhead. So you might want to just wait until your system is completely idle and stable to get a better representation of the results, or just run a few loops. Choice is entirely up to you. So that is how I do my testing. Again, you can do your testing however you feel fit, but this works for me. So let's take a look at some of the graphs to see what the settings actually do and what changes can be made. So we've got two graphs here. One is the temps high and low. So let's take a look at that one first of all. So here we have it. AMD Ryzen 7 7800X3D. This is on our motherboard, so the MSI X670E Gaming Plus, the latest BIOS, and this is the thermal results. So we've got the temperature on the side from 0 up to 80 degrees there. In blue is the lows, red is the highs, and here at the bottom we've got the various types of setting we've done. So over on the far side we've got Precision Boost Overdrive set to the on or enabled position. We've got PBO set to off. We've also got it in the stock setting, which is auto PBO. Then we've got just with the curve optimization, the -20, as we discussed earlier. And then we've got another one there with the curve optimization -20, and also reducing the SOC voltage to 1.2 volts. So you can see there aren't huge differences. There is a steady kind of decrease. The worst possible setting that I could see here was with actually PBO off. Somehow managed to get 76.6 degrees Celsius as the hottest temperature. So if you take into account with our tweaks there, we've dropped a couple of degrees, which yeah, is pretty good and it's helpful. It's going to possibly give you a longer lifespan on your processor and protect the SoC. So yeah, you can see the rough idea there. So again, we're around about sort of 40 degrees Celsius as our idle temperature on the package, but with all of our kind of tweaks made, we've got it down to 37.5. Now this is in a 21 degree Celsius room. So again, there are savings to be had. For me personally, I would do the curve optimization and the 1.2 volt manual setting for the SoC, but you don't necessarily have to. You can just do the -20 and leave it as that. You still will see a noticeable reduction in temperatures, albeit very small, but there is a reduction, and that is both for the idle and also for the full load situations. So that's great, but what does that mean in terms of actual performance? So let's take a look at the performance. So if we measure now between the Cinebench performance versus the heat generated, you can see here the difference does expand a little bit. So when it comes to being like better, obviously the graphs, you want them to be as close as possible. So you want high results with the temperatures. And if you get to high temperatures but lower results, that's clearly a bad thing. So as we can see, the worst possible outcome, albeit by a very small margin, was actually with just PBO set to the on position. That gave us 76 degrees and we got 17,506 points, which is okay. So weirdly, turning off PBO altogether, we've got an extra 100 points and a little bit more temperature, half a degree, so that's within margin of error. That was slightly unexpected. Then we go to the stock setting, so auto PBO, which apparently seems to kind of mimic PBO being off anyway. There's very little difference. So we've got 76.1 degrees, we've got 17,608 points. So those are effectively a tie. I would say the worst one there so far is the PPO on, but again, depending on your temperature metrics, that's entirely up to you. But where we do see a significant improvement is with the curve optimizer being set to -20. So here, not only have we dropped the temperature a little bit, so like 1 or 2 degrees, we've also got a much better score. So we've got 18,094 points there. That was with the -20. But actually changing the SOC voltage to 1.2, again, didn't have a massive effect. The score was basically the same. The temperature was very similar as well. So again, you may or may not find benefits in doing the 1.2 volts. Your processor is going to perform differently. The silicon lottery does come into effect, so your results will definitely vary from mine. If you've got the same processor, a Ryzen 7 7800X3D, please feel free to do the same testing and see what your results are like. See if they are similar, and if they are considerably better or considerably worse, then please do let us know in the comments section. So there we go. There are some settings you can do in your BIOS to make your processor run a little bit better. Yes, it's not a huge difference, but these days every little helps. And when it comes to things like cooling, obviously depending on what sort of cooling situation you've got, your mileage may differ as well, because a lot of it, the PBO, is on multi-factors. So it's on heat, wattage, power deliveries, all that kind of stuff. So if you've got a really good cooler, you may find that it kind of plateaus anyway. Whereas if you're using a slightly lower end cooler, or maybe an air cooler, you may find your results are a little bit better because there isn't enough thermal headroom to kind of soak up the differences. Anyway, hopefully this video has been useful to you. If it has, smash the like button. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, maybe consider hitting subscribe. And if you do that, don't forget to look at the chime notification icon and choose all notifications. That way you'll be notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's unboxing, reviews and how to, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.